In this lesson, we're going to apply formulas for perimeter, area, and circumference. First, a few definitions. Perimeter is the sum of the side lengths of a figure. Area is the number of non-overlapping square units that exactly covers the figure. So the perimeter of a rectangle is found by adding up all four sides. Since the length repeats twice and the width repeats twice, we can use this formula to find the perimeter. The area is the length times the width. For a square, all four sides are the same length, so instead of adding them all up, we can just take the side length times 4 to find the perimeter. And the area is just s squared. Since length and width are the same, you could still think of it as length times width if you wanted to. The perimeter of a triangle is the same, just add up all the side lengths, A, B, and C. But the area, we cannot just use necessarily the side length, we have to use the base and the height. So that height is perpendicular from the base. It forms a 90-degree angle. For right triangles, that's going to be the outside side lengths. But for a triangle like this, to find the area, we use the height instead of this measurement, A. So 1/2 times the base times the height, or base times height divided by 2. The perimeter of a circle, or the distance around the circle, we call the circumference. And we find this by taking pi times the diameter, or 2 times pi times the radius. And what that represents is, if you started here and measured all the way around the outside edge of the circle, that's the circumference. If you forgot what some of these words meant for a circle, the diameter is the distance all the way across a circle that passes through the center. The radius is starting from the center of the circle to the outside edge. So you might notice that if you take double the radius, you get the diameter. To find the area, that's the space inside the circle, we're going to take pi times the square of the radius. So this distance here is the radius, square it, and multiply it by pi. Sometimes we leave our answer in terms of pi, like 36 pi squared. And sometimes we can actually multiply it out, 36 times 3.14, and get an answer. Notice that area is in 2 dimensions, so all of the areas, the answer will be something squared, and all of the perimeters or circumferences are not. They're in 1 dimension. It's just length. To find the perimeter and area of a rectangle, well, for the area, we take length times width. We get 4 feet squared. And to find the perimeter, we take twice the length plus twice the width. We get 10 feet. To find the perimeter and area of a square with a side length of 8 millimeters, we use these 2 formulas. Notice the perimeter is in a unit of millimeters, and the area is in a unit of millimeters squared, 2 dimensions. For this one, these 4 hash marks indicate that this is a square, because all side lengths are the same. So to find the perimeter, we take 4 times the side length, 28 centimeters. To find the area, we take the side length squared, 49 centimeters squared. For this rectangle, we know the length, we don't know the width. We use the same formula though, we plug in x for w, and we get an answer of 24 plus 2x inches. The same is true for area. We plug in length and width into the formula. We get 12x inches squared. For the perimeter of this triangle, we add up the 3 side lengths. We don't know y, so our final answer is 18 plus y feet. For the area, we're looking at the base and the height. So that's these 2. The hypotenuse is always across from the 90-degree angle, so we're not looking at 10. And we divide that whole thing by 2, so we're going to get 4y feet squared. For the base and height, number 6, the base is here at 9, and I look for the height that is perpendicular to that base, and it's 6. So for the area, that's 9 times 6 divided by 2. So 54 divided by 2 is 27 centimeters squared. To find the perimeter, though, I'm just adding together the 3 outside edges, a plus b plus c, 24.2 centimeters. Next up, circumference and area for each circle. From this diagram, we know the radius is 9. So plugging into the formula 2 pi r, 2 times 9 is 18. I will just leave the pi there so that we don't have this irrational number, and there's my circumference. Same thing for the area. I plug in a 9 to the formula, 81 pi inches squared. For both of these, I could actually multiply using the pi button on the calculator and round to the nearest tenth, but I'm going to leave it here in this form. If I plug in this radius of 1.5 into the two formulas, my circumference is 3 pi centimeters, and my area is 2.25 pi centimeters squared. Since the distance 26 is all the way across, I know that my diameter is 26, and my radius is then going to be 13. So I can use either one of these two formulas for circumference, because 2 times the radius is equal to the diameter. Either way, I get a final answer of 26 times pi meters. To find the area, I will use the radius and plug that into this formula, 13 squared, 169 pi meters squared. Last one, if my diameter is 33, that means my radius is 16.5. If I plug 16.5 into these two formulas for circumference and area, I get 33 pi millimeters, or 272.25 pi millimeters squared. And since I didn't, here's just a reminder of how you would round to the nearest tenth. So the 10th decimal place is right here. If we want to determine whether we should keep that as a 3 or round it up to a 4, we look here at the next number. And if that number is below 5, like 3.33 for example, then we round down to 3.3. If it's 5 or above, we round up to 3.4.